douche flute to start off the day. Nice.
Yep.
Welcome to the Pure American Podcast. Oh, wait, let me redo that because we're... All right, here we go. Welcome to the Pure American Podcast, episode 6. This is the show where we cover what's going on in America, what we think maybe you should be thinking about, from our own biased and apparently already bigoted selves, I guess. Tristan, welcome to the Bigot Club. Comes with the territory, people. We're your hosts. Obviously, I'm Fatty. This is Redboy, Zach, and Tristan. You know, whatever you want to call us is fine. We'll respond to anything except for racial slurs. Well, actually...
We'll respond to anything except for racist, transphobic, homophobic,
I might just turn around because I'm a retard, but, you know.
Uh-huh.
And make sure if you're watching us on YouTube that you hit that subscribe and hit that notification bell. Hey, we did something, right? Because, you know, I can go in and see how many people that are watching this are actually subscribed to the channel. And I saw that 65% of people watching this are not subscribed. That hurts the soul. That hurts my soul. You hurt my soul. Tristan, what do you have to say to that? Nothing. Okay.
No comment.
I will send him to eat your cats and dogs if he does not, or if you do not change this. No,
White pages is a thing.
We do appreciate the support, though. In all seriousness, we're just hoping to grow our channel, hopefully, because we want to do this kind of possibly full time. Like, we enjoy doing this. You know what I mean? And we want to bring out good content for you guys.
But we do need your help. Money off of it too.
Yeah, obviously. That's what it means to do this for a living. Come on. He's not the smartest, okay? It's fine.
I didn't pass economics, but I'm smarter at that than most other people, and I'll explain why later.
Good thing we're talking about an economic issue. So yeah, make sure you follow us on Twitter at Pure American Pod. Don't miss an update. We do actually have a guest lined up. We're excited about that. We're not going to tell you who yet, though.
And the segment that he is going to be a part of isn't really going to be a political matter. It's just going to be funny.
You're going to love it, though. I promise.
Especially if you're off TikTok, then you'll know what's going on.
Or just social media in general, because there's been a lot of YouTube covering. Anyway, enough with all this, because we don't want to spoil anything. Let's move on to today's episode. We have AAVEs, which I know Tristan doesn't know what it means, and probably half of y'all don't know what it means. I didn't know what it meant until a couple days ago. But yeah. It's the stupidest thing on the internet. I promise you.
Actually, I did read into that, and
oh, he did. Surprisingly,
surprisingly, right? Just get ready for a lot of words that apparently you're not able to say because I guess it's cultural appropriation.
It's a really dumb idea. Well, no, let me take it back. It's a dumb thing, right? You're sitting here like, what idiot compiled this list? But it's actually kind of scary to think that people think this is a good idea to start gatekeeping language. You'll see,
especially a language that's been going on for years.
Yeah, you'll see what we mean. Then we got the whole royal family debacle. You have never turned on the TV, opened social media ever in your life if you don't know kind of what's going on. We're not gonna touch a lot on it, but in all honesty, you'll see what we're gonna say about it. And then Steven Crowder has some big accusations coming towards him. Something on Twitter involving some very highly illegal things. So we shall break that down as well, because that's huge. And then
that's suspicious. That's weird.
And then we have, as Tristan said, economics-wise, the rise in gas prices.
Why Biden is not to blame, in all honesty. I mean, it's kind of like a subjective idea. I mean, you can look at it however you want to, but I'm going to give you a tiny economics class.
Yeah, the guy who said he failed economics will give you an economics.
I'm going to give you a common sense economics class.
And then we're going to talk about nationalism and a couple other of the right-wing ideologies and thinkings that have been happening recently on social media. And we are going to call out some right-leaning people. So if you're right-leaning, which I assume the majority of the people listening to this podcast are, don't get butthurt. Obviously, Tristan and I are going to call people out. That's fine. We're both right-leaning, right? We just want to see the ideology that we align with the most and that we have a lot of our beliefs in, right? We want to make sure we stay true to what we want. You know what I mean? If that makes sense.
Even though I know a lot of the younger people who want to get into politics or something who are misled and under the wrong misconception are going to think like, oh, you guys aren't really conservative, you're not Republican, you're not right-leaning. You just called out another right-leaning person. That's what you do. I mean, you don't want false information spread. You don't want your whole entire party to look stupid just based off of a couple people. So if you are subscribed or you're watching this and thinking about subscribing, get used to it because it's going to happen a lot because there's idiots on both sides. Not saying that we are the smartest. No, but we know when someone's stupider than us.
Yeah.
So.
Like the thing that well, you can't let, just because you agree or you identify as like right-leaning or left-leaning, you don't want to blindly follow that ideology without questioning it or calling out its wrongs or some of its fallacies, because then you get to a hive mind, which obviously we see a lot from the left, but it does happen on the right, and we're going to talk about it. But so first things first, AAVEs, which stands for African American Vernacular English. You might be thinking, oh, these are words that, you know, they say on the streets or something like that, or, you know, amongst the black communities, these are popular words that go back and forth. That would be where you are wrong, and you're about to see why. So let's take a look at it, shall we, Tristan? So here we are. It's a website. If you want to look at it, you're more than welcome to. It is AAVENB.carrd.co. And it's this little web page.
When you sent me this initially, I thought this was like one of those hacker things where I clicked on it and like all my social media accounts were about to get hacked. That's why I was like very hesitant at first, and then I had to Google like what it was, and then I clicked on it. I was like, oh, this is stupid.
So what is an AAVE? We already talked about it. Can I use it? Essentially, what that tab is going to say is no, not if you're black.
Or not? No, if you're not black.
You can't use it if you're not black, right? You can use it if you are black. But we're going to take a look at the lists.
Get ready for a bunch of words that you've been using for the last 2 years, or some even longer.
Yeah. So this list, right? Well, if you're already looking at it, right? If you're watching it on YouTube or if you're on the website itself, you'd be looking at these and be like, hey, I see a lot of the Gen Z or younger generations throwing these around on Twitter a lot. Or, you know, Twitter, TikTok, whatever. Just social media in general a lot.
No matter the race either.
Yeah. Apparently it's racist. So, shall we break it down? We have chow, which is chili, as in the country, but they say chow, as I guess it's supposed to mean chill. They spelled that wrong. Everyone on social media uses that wrong. But
anyways, chow.
Yeah, ASF, which means Tristan. Go ahead.
As fuck.
Yeah, I don't like to swear. That's just me. Period or per, as in like when people say period to poo. Like I never liked that one. Bay, boo, sus, simp, hella. T, as in like spill the tea. Ben, as in I've been new. This one actually really bugged me because that's not a black thing. All right, I'm from the country.
Ben?
I'm from the country. All right, like
same.
Everybody talks like, yeah, I've been known old Billy over there. You know what I mean? Like that's just improper English, and everyone speaks it.
Old Southern people have been saying that since what, like 1900s. You didn't come up with been as in I've been new.
Don't quote Tristan on that as an actual fact. It's a hyperbole. It's an exaggeration. If you're one of those people, it's like, no one used that back in the 1900s. Shut up. Calm down. Habitual be, as in they be like. I've never heard that one, to be honest with you.
I haven't. Especially on social media.
Dead-a, head-a, though. Everybody types THO as an abbreviation.
No one wants to type out the next 4 letters, okay?
Yeah, like everyone does that. That's not a white or black thing. This is stupid.
3 letters, my bad.
I never got red as in someone. I don't understand that one. Some of these I've never heard of. I'm not saying black people didn't invent this. I'm just saying it's stupid, right? Continuing. Extra, as in depends on context, I guess. So like you say, like someone's being extra. They're being too much. Or like, dude, you're doing the most. Or you're being extra. That's what that means. Again, is this really a black or white thing? It shouldn't be. Cap, no cap. Everybody uses that. Why are we trying to block this? What is going on? This is dumb. This is dumb.
I feel like this is something like 4chan made, because this is just like too stupid
hope so. But apparently
to be an actual thing.
These are the pictures, and if you click these, some of these have links, and some of them go to social media profiles. I guess these are the people that came up with this.
They look like they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah, not at all. What did we leave off? Oh yeah, shook. Okay, snatched, as in snatched my wig, or to look. So you cannot use the proper grammar if someone were to take your purse. They snatched my purse. Get them. Or snatched is in like, what's that? What were you about to say? Because
I was gonna say snatched is in the dictionary and it has multiple different like definitions. I know one of those definitions is to steal or to take when or when it's not yours.
Yeah, and then on top of that, you have something like people use snatched as in like your waist looks snatched, as in like you look skinny. You know what I mean? That's kind of a good thing. Why are these black words lit, finna, woke? What
the fuck's Aggie? Aggie.
I don't know.
Aggie Azalea?
I don't.
You got to change your name, hon.
Well, no, she spells it with an I. I don't understand. I don't know what that one is, but woke and finna, fixin' and finna again is a southern thing. Like I'm fixin' to go down to the gas station. I'm finna go down to the gas station. How is that? Again, how is this a racial thing? It's not, but apparently it is. Pressed. That's like, why you so upset? I never liked that one personally. Y'all can have that one. I don't use it. That's stupid. That's mostly a girl thing.
Yeah.
Sis depends on context. Apparently you can't call somebody your sister or sis if you're not white or black. I mean, no, if you're white or any other race besides black, you can't say that. I don't know. Maybe the Latino community do that because apparently they get a slide on all these other words.
Miss girl.
Miss girl. Hate that word. A lot of TikTok girls use that. A lot of Twitter females use that. Don't like it. Even though I don't like it, though, I will say that's not a black thing. Fam, I don't, which is like, I don't know.
That's what I'm guessing.
No, that is. I've used that before.
Is it?
Instead of saying IDK for I don't know, it's I don't know. Like, I don't understand, again, how an abbreviation over text should be by race. And in ghetto, look, first of all, this is a prime example of everybody trying to Americanize everything. Ghettos are not just black areas, people. Ghettos are just really run-down areas. The Jews during the Jews during Nazi times lived in ghettos. Go off. Again, why is that a black thing and we've been new? This is just excuse, first of all, to use really bad grammar, let's be honest.
It's like, I don't even know. It's just so stupid that people would come up, well, not with these words, but think that it's just meant for the black community. Like, if it was a real problem, this website or whatever would have been made months ago, years ago.
But why are you trying to get, like you said, we might just gone through this listening and be like, dude, this is the stupidest thing ever. Like, why is this a problem? Really, what I want to do is use this as an example. People are trying to gatekeep language and how you speak. Why does it matter what race you are and the words you say, right? First of all, if you're going to get upset about this, right, be like, black people made these terms or whatever. You can't use them if you're not black. Don't use language that you didn't come up with. Keep that same energy with the N-word. I'm just going to say it right now. I'm ripping the Band-Aid off. Keep that same energy, bro, because it is. If we're going to go down this path of logic, it's the same logic that should be used.
That is exactly the same logic. Anybody watching this, I want you to make a website like this with words or phrases that was created by white people and then post it. See what kind of backlash you get, because it would not be the same.
No, not even close. It upsets me. I'm not going to lie. Because it doesn't make sense. Let's look at how they describe it. We'll read this. This is not meant to be the end-all source on AAVE. Apparently, there's other lists. Like I said, you can click these and go to other lists. Do your own research and provide information quickly if needed. It's more than just saying a couple words. It is a dialect with its own structure. And there are many other issues that come along with it. For example, how you pronounce the words, or if you're using a black accent. What a black accent is if someone says you're trying to talk like a black person and you're not black. What do you mean? There are people that like to talk with a country accent, but they're not from the country. There's people that try to use Canadian accents, but they're not from Canada. There are white people or other groups who are raised in black majority areas surrounded by this form of dialect that talk like that because that's where they grew up around.
You remember that? You know, that one white kid in your school that thought he was the most hood motherfucker in the whole entire, like, earth?
Right.
Yeah, it's the same concept.
But it shouldn't be a problem because there are people who are raised in those environments that this is what they're surrounded by and that's how they talk. regardless of the race. Why is that a problem? It shouldn't be. Let's go on. This list was intended to educate. I hate that word. I hate that people use that word now. Educate yourself. Or let me educate you. It's like, hey, instead of saying that, use anything else that doesn't make you sound like a prick. Please. This list was intended to educate people on the words they consider Gen Z or Stan language and where they actually come from. First of all, if you're going to use the word Stan, by the way, that was by Eminem, a white guy. So you can't use that one if we're using the same logic. But no, this is Gen Z or Stan language. This is language that my generation and some of the other generations, maybe like some millennials, started to use because we got lazy how we wanted to type things out. This is not... This shouldn't be divided by race. This is something you need. I'm on the top paragraph. If you need to examine past saying, you need to examine past saying a couple words every couple of months. Wait, what?
What, do the definitions just change every month?
No. Does that mean, this is something that you need to examine past saying a couple words every other month? Is that essentially like saying check your privilege and how you talk? I'm not trying to assume anything. That's worded horribly, by the way.
Well, yeah, look at the people that wrote it. They do not look like they know what the fuck they're talking about.
That's not a race thing, by the way. That's just saying these
it's
people
not a race thing. You're good at making the disclaimers today. Yeah, that wasn't a race thing. These people just honestly, if you're looking on YouTube, you can tell. If you're on Spotify, Apple Podcast, I'm letting you know, these people do not look like they know what they're talking about.
Yeah. Why you use AAV, who you use it around, and the way you speak about it. This is one of the parts that got me really nervous, I guess. Not nervous in the sense of I'm shaking in my boots, I gotta be careful what I say, about if this idea starts to catch on of you need to police how you speak when you're around other people. You shouldn't have to do that. That's a stupid idea. It's an idea, though, that's been starting to catch traction. I don't think there's ever been a time in my life, there still really isn't, but I can see how it's coming out now, where up until recent times, I feel like I have to be careful what I say around somebody depending on what they look like. Which is not how this... I know, I don't, but I remember sitting back and thinking, I was like, there are people out there, due to these recent times, that are trying to police what they say around different people.
The way that I see it...
Which is not a good ideology.
The way that I see it when it comes to speaking out towards another person, I mean, if it is something that you shouldn't get offended about... I mean, my bad. Let me rephrase that. If it's something that's obviously offensive, dropping the N-word, hard R, whatever it is, calling someone the F slur or whatever... then yeah, that's one thing. But saying something, every word is subjective now, you know what I mean? It's like, people could take it in the complete opposite way of how you're using it. I just don't care. It is your choice to get offended and dwell on something that I said when you don't even know the context behind it.
Yeah, and what's dumb about it, obviously, too, is this ideology that we should be saying is if you're not going to say it around one person, don't say it at all. Should be exactly how we think. But it's like, hey, just don't say it around this one specific person. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I feel back, I go back to elementary schools, the words that come out of your mouth, you should be able to say it around anybody. You know what I mean? Which is not how this is going. And these words shouldn't be on that list of things that you shouldn't just say. These are just words that people can say. And by the way, it's not cultural appropriation either, if you're going to try and throw that argument in there, because you shouldn't try and gatekeep your culture, by the way. People are going to say it. If people like it, people, if it gains traction and popularity, that should be a good thing. You created something that's cool and hip and everyone tries to use it. Don't try and say you can't use it and create this little club, this clique and division, because that creates real division and hostile feelings and emotions towards the people within that community. I'm just saying, like I said a couple episodes back, when you start labeling everything as racist and calling other people racist for doing stuff, you're not getting rid of it, you're just creating more of it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So let's see. This is why you need to do your own research. There are many resources, from articles to videos to TikToks to tweets. So please start doing your own research on black issues instead of 100% relying on black people to tell you. I agree with that, actually.
Yeah, but this list isn't a black issue. Just because you think you came up with these words, or you think these words are culturally approved for just you, it's not a black issue. I mean, these girls probably just saw these people on social media saying these type of things. Like they said, TikTok, Twitter, blah, blah, blah. Celebrities, and just like, you know what? They shouldn't be saying that.
Yeah. And I'm going to spin that logic of the sentence it says. So it says, do your own research. So don't rely 100% on black people to tell you about black issues. I'm going to spin it in a way that obviously they probably weren't thinking about. Don't believe everything. Just because a black person tells you that they're oppressed as a black person, or that Black Lives Matter didn't riot and loot, don't take their word for it just because they're black. Just like you say, don't take a white person for their word for something, similar just because they're white, obviously, right? Do your own research.
Oh, yeah.
And then it goes on to say, let's see. Oh, yeah. There are plenty of sources just on social media, as we've been saying, as we've been saying a lot of this stuff for a while.
And this is where they're wrong again, because social media is not a credible...
Yeah, it should be a credible source.
Yeah, source. That's what I'm looking for. It's not a credible source.
Even what they're saying, though, it's like, even though it's worded absolutely horrendously, they're saying go on social media and see that people have been using these words for a long time. You're right. People have been using these horrible abbreviations and shortenings of words for a long time. And no one's had an issue with it.
Yeah, no one's had a problem until, 7 people got mad at it or decided that they wanted to cause a problem? You're not starting a movement here. You're making yourself look stupid.
Yeah, you're creating an issue where there doesn't need to be an issue. Talking small AAV terms and phrases, taking small AAV terms and phrases out of your vocabulary is a start, but it is not the solution. What?
Then what's the frickin' solution?
What?
It's just phrases out, dude. It's stuff that you see on social media every day. It's not that deep.
Well, I would say taking any of these out of your vocabulary when you're trying to have a decent conversation with somebody, if you're trying to have an intelligent conversation with somebody, it's a good move, right? If I'm gonna text somebody, right? I'm gonna text my girlfriend and I call her bae or boo, like, I'm not gonna not do that. Like, what in the world?
The thing that I find funny, and tell me if this is a bad take, honestly, they're saying all these are a part of their culture, and from what I get from their culture that they're trying to imply is African culture. This is English.
Right.
So tell me if that's a bad take or not, but I mean, if they're saying it's their culture's words, it's not.
I found out what Aggie means. It's a slang term for aggravated or aggravating.
I've never heard that.
How is that a black thing? Anybody can be aggravated. Anybody can be aggravated.
But I'm oppressed.
This pisses me off for no reason, but it does. All right, moving on to some other things because I'm tired of saying this stuff. Stop gatekeeping. Stop gatekeeping language. It's stupid.
And music and hairstyles and just stop gatekeeping.
Just stop being stupid. You're not a... Whatever. Moving on, because this is destroying my brain cells as I just stuttered like Joe Biden.
Next.
All right. So, moving on, right? The royal family debacle. If you have seen, if you've been on social media, if you watch news for past couple days, you'd see this is covering headlines worldwide. My question is, why?
Oh, yeah, and disclaimer, I know this isn't really related to American... like our country.
I'm gonna swing it back to it though, watch.
Oh yeah. But like initially, obviously the royal family is not related to American problems, but we're trying to cover like everything in the world because American problems, they run slim. They don't run slim, but we run out of good ones. I'll say that.
Why? Why is this the top of headlines and covered so heavily in America? Who cares? It has nothing to do with American news. It has nothing to do with American politics. Why is it being covered? And be like, oh, so you just want the news to cover everything politically. Like, I'm not saying don't cover this from the news, right? Just grace over it real quick, for the one time. Like, hey, this happened with the royal family. Meghan Markle sat down with Oprah, and now she's upset. This happened. Like, cool story. Give some details. Move on. It shouldn't be covered all the time. Personally, I think we're covering it to hide some facts, politically. They don't want to talk about politics a lot. And while some people say this is a good thing, you also got to think about why don't they want to talk about politics a lot? What are they hiding? What do they not want you to pay attention? Kind of like the Blackout Tuesday thing with the black squares on Instagram, where wasn't it the same day that Hillary went to court?
You guys ended racism. Nice.
Yeah, but at the same time, you created a media blackout.
I think it was the same week.
The fact that Hillary was going to trial.
And if it was not the same week or day, please correct us in the comments. But yeah, I'm pretty sure it was the same week, I want to say.
That sparks this. Like, again, this is something that who cares? Like, nobody, this shouldn't be covered so heavily. And it doesn't matter because it's not applicable to American people. And that's some people, Meghan Markle's American. Okay, she married into the royal family. She's no longer our problem, to be honest with you, right? Yeah, so that's all I wanted to say about that real quick. Because let's not talk about that so much, right? You know what I mean? But now we're going to get into the real meat and potatoes of today's episode, now that I've touched on that. I present to you the most questionable quote of all time. Tristan, I don't know if you've seen this.
Yeah, you didn't send it to me. All I saw in the list was questionable quote, and I was like, okay.
Don't worry about it. This is good. This one...
Is it the Burger King thing?
No, I saw this one a couple minutes ago, and I want everybody to see into what we have here.
Go for it.
We have a quote that states, right? Here we go. I'll read it. These days, the narrative is that transgender people will come into bathrooms and abuse little girls. The supposed purity of the victims has remained stagnant. There are no princesses. Little girls are also kinky. I just threw up in my mouth. Your kids aren't as straight and narrow as you think.
Yo, what the...
This quote comes from AAVEs Manon, a trans activist and writer.
Wait.
Let me read that again.
Just everyone focus on that line. There are no princesses. Little girls are also kinky. What? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Mind my business.
The top part, right? So the first part of this quote, let me break it down. These days, the narrative is that transgender people will come into the bathroom and abuse little girls. I personally, when we were talking about the whole transgender thing, never once said trans people are going to come in and abuse little girls. I said, and what you said, were creeps were going to abuse it.
Yeah, because the law protects people who just, like, they go into the female bathroom and be like, oh, well, I identify as a female. They're technically protected by law. That's what we were getting at. Yeah. I honestly don't believe that people who are actually transgender, who transition to the opposite sex but are still attracted to the same sex, I don't think they're the people who are putting the little girls at risk.
There's a whole other thing going on with that community that's pretty bad, and that's the suicide rate, which is absolutely huge.
Atrocious.
I don't know the whole number, but obviously that points to a lot of stuff. There are some mental issues going on, which is something that needs to be addressed. But let's continue. The supposed quote-unquote purity of the victims has remained stagnant. Basically saying what that says is, hey, these people aren't that as pure as they're not as pure as you think they are. Dude, that's horrible. Because then you go, there are no princesses. Little girls are also kinky. Dude, what?
If you guys, to people who are watching, who are, I don't know, children of God or something, kinky is a term that is used for, like, it's a sexual term, I guess you could say, for people who are into other things that are not the normal type of, like, sexual contact. People who are into, let me just say, like, whips and chains or some shit like that. That's what it is. I don't know how this guy correlated little girls and saying that they're kinky.
They're non-binary. I looked up who it was. Alok Van Menon is an American writer, performance artist, and media personality who performs under the moniker Alok. Alok is a gender non-conforming and trans feminine and uses singular they pronouns.
And I'm a fucking toaster strudel. Like,
oh, man. This doesn't make sense. Well, no. First of all, you don't really start to get those sexual feelings and drive until you've hit puberty. Scientific fact there.
And when I think little girls, I think of anyone that is little girls, like not in high school yet, people who are still, growing, going through puberty, like you just said.
They said the phrase "there are no princesses" is essentially referring to they're not as pure and saintly as you think they are. Yeah, no, to me, a little girl who is 4 or 5 years old is a princess to me, right? If my daughter wants to be called a princess, I'm gonna call her my little princess. But what do you mean?
It's just ridiculous. There are no... Oh my God.
Yeah.
Little girls are princesses. Fuck. Princesses. Little girls haven't been exposed to the world. They don't even know what the term kinky is. They haven't been exposed to anything that would make them like anything sexual contact, anything.
Right.
I don't even know what he's trying to get at. Literally, in my mind, all he's doing is making an excuse for him to make sexual advancements towards little girls.
Yeah. Your kids
That's all I'm getting.
Your kids aren't as straight and narrow as you think. Yes, they are. Little children are literally the purest form of life on Earth.
Maybe they're diabolical. They like destroying shit. That's fine, but they're not. It has nothing to do with a sexual anything. Like,
and as we see in a lot of recent culture, there's a lot of people who have attraction to younger people, which is absolutely disgusting. And if you're
public
one of those
execution,
people, if you're one of those people, I will gladly meet you in the middle of the street.
You guys want an old-fashioned duel?
Yeah, this right here is disgusting, and this is one of the big problems that people have with the trans community, or not all the trans community, but a lot of people like, hey,
the people who do this shit.
Yeah, like, and the fact that this was posted on a women's Twitter page,
the fact that people back it.
Yeah, this was posted by Women's Voices. The Twitter ad is Women Read Women, and they have 21,000 followers. I really hope that they're like the meme fake accounts, if that makes sense.
Let me see. I mean? What's their shit called? I'm going to go make fun of them.
Women Read Women. Right. But as far as I thought, I was like, maybe they're the account that jokes about how whack some of this stuff is. That, like, you've seen those accounts on Instagram, but they actually contribute to a website that claims to be like Canada's longest running feminist website, blogging thing, whatever. But I would say this right here is literally... this is the problem that people have with a lot of these outspoken trans activists. Right.
Did they take that post down?
No, it's there. I got this a couple minutes ago I got on it a couple minutes ago to make sure it was good. I can send it to you here in a second. Yes. I'll send it to you.
That's what the fuck, dude.
It was posted like 2 days ago.
I'm gonna scroll down. I'm gonna see if I can find it. But keep talking. Go ahead.
Anyway, this is the problem. Right, obviously that a lot of people have these activists. Like, that is single-handedly the most disgusting thing I think I've ever read in my life. And it is this dangerous thin line that we walk to what people call MAPS, or minor attracted person, which is a great way to say pedophile. I think a lot of people were calling it way back. It's like, dude, where does this LGBT thing start to land? Because we're adding all these letters. Pretty soon people are going to identify with, like, the minor attracted persons thing or pedophile, and they're going to add that to the list. We didn't think that was real, but now we're starting to see this. People are doing these story time things with little kids talking about sexuality. Little kids should not be taught sexuality until you go through sex ed. When puberty is about to hit.
Yeah, they shouldn't be going through people talking to them about their sexuality or sexual anything when they're fucking 7, 8 years old.
Well, the thing is, like, I don't remember exactly when my sex ed thing was. I don't know when the average age of puberty starts. What is it?
I know 12? Mine wasn't at 8.
Yeah. But I feel like one of the main problems, like, when people have, like, with Drag Queen Story Hour, or these people come in and read gay books and talk about sexual attraction and all this great stuff to little kids. A lot of people are like, oh, you just don't want someone to read it to your child because they're gay, or they're, transsexual, or they're a drag queen. No, I just don't want my kids to be exposed to that stuff until they actually start to experience those things.
The thing is, people are allowing too much outside influence from people who are not their parents.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like you said, these drag queens, maybe transsexuals, gay people, that's not the main principle. But if they're going to come in and do a story time and talk to your child about sexuality and sexual things, that doesn't make sense. It's like, it's just so ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's like I said, it's absolutely disgusting. Again, I think the majority of people say the reason I don't want my kids to be taught by these people is because they tend to expose sexual stuff to these kids that I don't want my kid to be exposed to at this current time. Personally, I'm trying to raise my kids to be straight because that's what I believe. Oh yeah, speaking of sexuality and straight, did you see the super straight movement on TikTok?
Oh, yeah.
So if you don't know what that is, it's somebody started a joke, super straight. Its picture is literally a what is it, orange and black flag.
It's like the Pornhub logo.
Yeah, that's the point of it, by the way. It's a joke, but they're saying they can't hate on us for being straight now because it's technically sexuality. You know what I mean?
And it's got to be included in the LGBTQ plus community.
It's actually kind of a genius idea, to be honest with you, because yeah, again, what are you gonna not let them in? It's a sexuality, right?
It's a sexuality. You can't not let them in. Y'all been making up sexualities for the past fucking 2, 3, 4 years. So,
and now everyone, like I saw on the internet,
it's like, not the same.
Well, it's like there's a Nazi symbol. It's SS because some of the flags are like, or the emojis that people will put in like comment sections because you can't put the gender symbols or whatever, obviously, in the. They'll put like it'll be an orange background with the black letters SS, and everyone's like, "It's SS." It's ironic.
It stands for Stormtroopers from the Nazi Party.
I don't think that's what the SS meant, but all right.
Yeah, that's what it meant.
Stormtroopers.
That was a fucking nickname for them besides Spetsnaz, but.
Anyway, Spetsnaz wasn't that Russian?
Oh shit! It was Russian.
Yeah, you're retarded.
It spun something.
Anyway,
we're gonna look it up.
Yeah, you
Mach schnell.
No, it's not a Nazi thing. It's just kind of way the dice rolled to where it says SS for super straight. But
oh, my bad. Sturmabteilung literally means storm detachment or stormtroopers. Original parliament.
Something German. Anyway.
Something National Socialist Party.
Yeah, this is National Socialist, huh? Ironic. Anyway, this is not, obviously, right? You know what I mean? This has nothing to do with Nazi things. It's a joke that has gained a lot of traction. It's honestly hilarious to me that people are actually thinking, that are getting mad over it. It's funny to see.
It's a sexuality. You have to let them in.
Are you super phobic? Uh-oh.
Yeah, that's just... Wow.
No. But, like, it's funny to me to see it kind of collapse in on itself because the LGBT community, by standing and how they describe themselves, they should be let super straight people in. But it's hilarious to me. Just keeping on this trans kind of ride, if you get what I'm saying, or, whatever, the flow, the vibe of trans people, Steven Crowder faces some serious accusations. Let me show you when I say accusations. I stumbled upon this today, and I'm excited to show you, Tristan.
Go for it.
So, Lucas Santo, not going to try and pronounce that last name. When I identified as a trans teenager, this is what the tweet says, by the way, people, so I'm reading that. When I identified as a trans teenager, I was approached at S. Crowder, or Steve Crowder, soliciting sex from me. I was 17, he offered me $1,000, and I couldn't turn it down. I was homeless and desperate. He has since told me he'd sue me if I spoke out and has slandered me to filth. Today I speak my truth. There are so many people in the comments, you can see how much traction this has picked up, right? I wouldn't be surprised if Crowder talks about it. I've never once heard that Crowder has ever talked about this person in particular, but there's no evidence.
The thing with social media is, Crowder obviously has a big platform. He's a very outspoken person. So when it comes down to it, people are gonna try and slander famous people for literally whatever.
Right.
So there's really no backing to this. This might just be, I don't know. Is it a fake account?
No, it's a real one.
It's a real one.
Through it. I am not saying that this is true or false. But I am saying that you have offered no evidence, and this is another reason why possibly I think it's false, is because he released this tweet here. Says, Let me make one thing abundantly. Sorry, he has it in all caps. I'm reading it abundantly clear. I do not have to display the details of my trauma to anybody. Twitter is not a courtroom, and I don't owe anybody anything. Nobody gets to dictate how, when, or in what way you should display your trauma. That decision is yours to make. So essentially what you're saying is you have no evidence and this never happened.
If you didn't display... I mean, yeah, we want facts. I want to see something. And you say, oh, Twitter's not a courtroom. If he actually did something like that, solicit sex for you, then blackmail you, take it to an actual damn courtroom.
Yeah, I was about to say, first of all, you're
take
right,
him
Twitter's
to court.
Not a courtroom. If you have the evidence and you can prove this, take it to court. Go to the courts. Go to the police.
This happens all too often.
Yeah, I'm too traumatized. I can't do it. I'm scared to say anything. You put it on Twitter.
For clout, most likely. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, hell, come at us if you want to. Guilty until... My bad. Guilty until proven innocent. Innocent until proven... Whoa. Innocent until proven guilty. The problem is that this guy or gal, whatever she or he identifies as...
He's got a beard. It's a he. I'm calling him a he. He has a beard.
It's like... You're going to get all these people. Probably why it had so many likes, retweets, and stuff like that is because there's a large community that are just like, yep, believe the victim, believe the victim. I don't believe the victim because in my mind, it is innocent until proven guilty. That's probably the only reason why that got traction.
Brett Kavanaugh, for example.
Yeah.
Like this, okay, this is so stupid to me because you have no evidence, right? And I don't even think, honestly, that Crowder will give this, like, peon a second of time.
I wouldn't give him the time of day because it's not even fucking... Unless he has to address it, but, I mean, 37.1 thousand likes. Cool, yeah, that's a lot. Steven Crowder is Steven fucking Crowder.
Right. And if it really happened, right, why are you just now saying something? I don't know how old you are. Actually, you know what? I'm going to look it up. But I don't know how old you are, but why is it now that you're saying something?
Why is it all of a sudden now a problem? If this really happened, well, from what I got to, it gave you $1,000, which he was soliciting a prostitute, then... Or not soliciting a prostitute, let me correct myself. He was basically trying to groom a prostitute and then blackmailing you, trying to hold it over your head. Why is it all of a sudden just now a problem?
So he's still tweeting a bunch of stuff. One of the things is that Crowder is unapologetically hateful towards trans people, and that was prevalent in our experience together. It was the worst few minutes of my life. He has disdain for trans women and women in general.
I want proof,
is dangerous.
Dude.
His disdain for trans women and women in general is dangerous. Put a comma in a place where there shouldn't have been a comma. Anyway, take it to court if it's real. I doubt.
And if you're gonna treat Twitter like a court, provide evidence, but you don't have any. So,
and all these people, it's like I never knew this. Or I'm so sorry, I get it. No one gets to go through this. I'll stand with you in solidarity. There is no evidence. You do not know if this person is lying or not, which is dangerous.
And now Crowder's just going to get slandered. It's not, I mean, hell, they're going to try and make him. Well, yeah, he gets slandered anyways, but I mean, now it's going to be more excessive, and now they're trying to create a problem or a backing to make him be deplatformed, which I highly doubt it would happen anyways, but
this tweet right here that I said, this Crowder's unapologetically hateful towards trans people, which I wouldn't say, Crowder's not very hateful. He kind of tells it how it is, and he'll say some things that definitely upset you, right? And he does it to get a rouse out of people, obviously. The man's doing
that
big
boosts
numbers.
His numbers.
But there's your reason as to why this claim was made. Crowder's unapologetically hateful towards trans people. You don't like Steven Crowder, obviously.
That's literally all that I'm getting from it.
And you're trying to find some way to slander this man's name, but you don't have anything else other than saying, I was solicited by him for $1,000 and 17 years old. I couldn't turn it down. I was homeless and desperate. Yes, you can. And if this is real, look, I'm sorry. If it was real, that's horrible. But you can always say no in this circumstance. To those people, it's like, I couldn't turn it down. I couldn't say no. It was $1,000. Yes, you can. You're just money hungry.
He or she is going to get exposed because they're going to pull up the year that blah, 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 such and such happened. Then they're going to find her. She's living in a house or some shit. She wasn't homeless or anything like that. she's going to get exposed. I guarantee.
Yeah. Then there's this stuff right here. It says, sounds real enough to me. This is a reply to a tweet. It says, sounds real enough to me. This is not uncommon. I'm not a jury. I don't need a smoking gun to believe this is very likely what happened. What? You don't need evidence to back a claim? You're just going to believe what someone tells you?
That's not how the justice system works, buddy.
You're not going to wait for evidence to come out? Because this Lucas person also hashtagged Me Too, and enough is enough. And if y'all don't remember, the Me Too was the believe all women and believe all victims.
And as soon as that whole movement came out, all of a sudden every woman had a story.
Yeah. What? Everyone's like, yeah, I agree. Your story's your story. You don't have to tell anybody. Then don't put out the tweet that he did that. Like, this is the literal... Yeah, I hear the dogs. It's fine, though.
You can keep talking.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
Shut up, retard. That's not even my dog. Some neighbors.
He probably walked in. He was like, why are you yelling at me?
Fuck I do. The wind's blowing.
Wait a second. Hold on. I know where I'm going to cut that one from. All right, here we go.
We should probably go to break soon, too.
Yeah. No, it's after this.
Oh, okay. Because I'm going to go grab a beer.
There you go. This story, or this, not even this story, this tweet is prime example of the meme source. Just trust me, bro. Just trust me. Just trust me. No, yeah, no, totally. You totally have to look, man. No, you don't have to look into it anymore. Like I said it. It's valid. It's truth. No. There is no evidence.
I don't get how people get mad when it's like,
yeah,
when you don't believe the victim. I went through a false rape case. I know plenty of people who went through a false rape case or sexual assault case as well. False, key fucking word, false. And once you've gone through something like that, where someone's literally trying to destroy your fucking life, then you're just like, you know what? I don't know the sources. I don't know what's going on. I don't know the facts. I'm not going to believe it until they give you the facts. It's not believing the victim is not saying that you are doubting that he or she was not sexually assaulted. It is saying that you're not going to make a biased opinion until you get the facts. That's all it is.
Right, and I'm not saying this is true or false, but I am saying you have not provided any evidence, and you've made a very dangerous claim, and there's a bunch of people agreeing with you, right? I wouldn't wish a claim like this to be made against somebody that I don't like, right? I wouldn't want this claim to be made against what's his name?
Motherfuckers go to jail for it, and they end up being
Chris Cuomo that's on CNN, or is it who?
That's not. I don't think that's his last name.
It's one of the Cuomo. No, it is because they're brothers.
Is it?
Cuomo on CNN is brothers with Governor Cuomo. Anyway, I think it is Chris Cuomo on CNN or Don Lemon. Like, just because I don't agree with what they're saying, I still wouldn't want to. Would not want a claim like this to be made unless there was hard evidence. Again, I'm not saying what this person said is true or false about Steven Crowder, but you provided zero evidence, and then you said, I don't have to prove it to you. Essentially what you said is, I don't have to prove it to you because it's my story.
Yeah, that you literally just said that you're not going to supply evidence. So
that
like,
that literally just backfired. Like, you essentially said, no, it's not true. I don't have any evidence. Because you literally, like, again, you said, well, he's going to sue me. Twitter's not a courtroom. Go to the actual court. You didn't? Well, you don't have any evidence then, right? Again, I'm not saying this is true or false, but you can't say I don't have to. People aren't entitled to tell everybody about their trauma, but the tweet before literally put out something that happened to you with trauma with zero evidence, no context, and then essentially saying I don't have to provide evidence. Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
It's like the problem. People will see something on social media and they're just like, you know what? Yes. Go you. And I'm sitting here like, no, fuck off. Because that makes absolutely no sense.
It doesn't. But, hey, look. Go us for sponsorships. And go us for this ad. And when we're back from this ad, obviously, we'll have some more stuff to talk about. But until then, we will catch y'all right after this ad. Hey everybody, it's Fatty. I'm here to come in and thank our sponsors real quick for today's episode. Our sponsor for today's episode is Anchor. If you don't know what Anchor is, it's a free service to use to produce and edit your podcast. They got an awesome, clean site that is perfect for anybody that wants to get started podcasting. They're 100% free, and they're what me and Redboy use for our podcast. My personal favorite thing about Anchor is they will distribute your podcast to almost anywhere you can listen to podcasts. That includes Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and Spotify. Did I mention it's free? I mean, I love free stuff. You know, I'm a college student, so anything I can get for free is awesome. They also let you monetize your podcast with no minimum listener requirements. So if you have an idea for a podcast that you want to record, do it. Go ahead and go to anchor.fm, that's anchor.fm, or download their free app. The app lets you edit and record your podcast on the go. I mean, that's pretty sweet. Look, I won't ever give you an ad for something that I personally don't use or enjoy. So let me tell you, I use and enjoy this service very much. So get out there, let the world know what your ideas are, what your opinions are, and I'll see you on Anchor. Now, back to the episode. And we're back. Alrighty. So, Tristan is the one that actually pointed this one out to me. Something about gas prices. As you have probably seen on TikTok, a lot of right-leaning, Republican, conservative, whatever you want to call them, not left-leaning creators have been blaming, the high gas prices on Biden?
Yeah, so pretty much, I made a video about this too, and I got slandered by literally everyone. Oh, you're backing Biden. No, I'm not backing Biden. It's common sense. It's economics. Even though I failed economics, this is common sense economics. It's
like
different.
You said at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah. But I literally made the post about it, and people were slandering me over it because, like we said, we don't care about calling out right-wing people. We really don't care. And a lot of right-wing people are just blaming Biden for the gas prices going up, and a lot of them, I believe, are blaming Biden because obviously what happened under the Obama administration with Obama signed the gas tax legislation bill, which obviously raised gas 40%. I think some places was 60%. It was 40 to 60%. But it's just common sense when it comes to this thing. So number one, the first thing that you got to look at is supply and demand. And keep in mind that this topic is very subjective on what you're ending or what you might think about it in the end, because you might still want to blame Biden. I'd say don't stoop to the Dems level because the Dems blamed Trump for everything over his last 4 years. So supply and demand. Within the last year, we had obviously the pandemic. The supply for oil was super low compared to what it is normally. And then they're trying to make the money back from now. If you didn't know, there are also two different types of gasoline blends. You got summer blend, and then you got winter blend. Diesel's not included because diesel's diesel, and then in the winter, we're just built different. And then in the winter, if you want to, I mean, if you're a pussy, but if you want to, you add the winter, the winter treatment.
Right.
But you got to also look at, so WTI, and I think the first 2 weeks of February, the price of barrels of crude oil, just oil in general, I guess, was $47, and the last week it was $60. And Zach, do you know what that is?
No, tell me. Educate me, as they would say.
Education. So, well, you got to think about where all the oil refineries are. They're in Texas, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know why. I'm just wanting you to explain it, so continue.
Winter storm hit. Obviously, so again, within the last year, the supply and demand was low. The demand for workers within the oil refinery over the last year during the pandemic was only, I think it was at about 40 to 43%, depending on the refinery. Right. And then getting into February, it jumped up to 86% as Texas started opening and many other places started opening as well. Winter storm hit in Texas, dropped down to 53%. So the production is super low right now. One other thing that I've been getting at, or I have a lot of people comment under my post.
Oh yeah, if you want to see the post, go to his TikTok, Redboy Hickabilly, and
yes, sir.
You'll see it. He's a stitch it with somebody,
but no, this is a different. This is the one I made after it. But a lot of people are mentioning the Keystone Pipeline.
I saw that pissed me off.
They're saying, oh well, the Keystone Pipeline he canceled. That's why gas prices are going up. Literally. It's so stupid that you guys would think that. The Keystone Pipeline wasn't set to be finished until 2023.
Yeah, go ahead.
Which means the price of gas, the drop that we were anticipating, would not happen until 2023 because of the ease of movement of crude oil. And so the Keystone Pipeline literally has nothing to do with the fluctuation of gas.
Yeah, the amount of people I saw in your comment section saying, it's because he shut down the Keystone Pipeline.
It's ridiculous.
Obviously, I don't agree with him shutting down the Keystone XL pipeline because the Keystone Pipeline is still a thing. The
XL pipeline, yeah, my bad.
What? We covered this in one of the episodes. It's either phase 4 or 5.
It was the second episode, I want to think.
Yeah, it was phase 4 or 5, one of the two. There was nothing flowing through the XL part of the pipeline.
People think that there was stuff flowing through as they were building it. There definitely was not. Otherwise, there would be no way for you to build it.
Yeah. It's maddening to me. This thing had nothing flowing through it because it wasn't connected to everything. You know what I mean? If they're going to flow it through, it's just going to split out at the other end because it hasn't been connected. It hadn't been finished. He stopped the production of it. So it wouldn't finish. There was nothing flowing through it. The gas prices were still the same, right? And at the end of the day, Tristan is right. Everyone's like, this is not how supply and demand works. It's not how economics... Yes, it is. It's exactly how it works.
The other thing that comes into play is... The other thing that comes into play, because I mentioned how there's two different types of gasoline blends. Like I said, you got summer, you got winter. Everyone's just like, oh, well, why are we paying for the price of summer gasoline when it's still like negative what and what? And here in South Dakota, we had 9 days of it being in the negatives. Production of summer fuel normally starts in December. That's when it normally starts. We are starting production here in the end of February, beginning of March.
Right.
So obviously they're going to be making up for that, including the fact that they haven't been getting the same amount of money in over the past year. So they might raise prices to fund the making and the manufacturing of summer oil, or summer gasoline, my bad.
Yeah.
Also, the other thing that I came across is that people were saying, they're like, oh, well, they probably raised the prices due to the anticipation that Biden might sign the same gas tax legislation bill. I'm like, if companies raise their gas prices in anticipation, that's on them.
Right. Also, where I live right now, currently reside in Virginia, I have not seen, my part of Virginia that I live in, I haven't seen a fluctuation in prices of fuel really since Biden got into office. It hasn't changed. Stayed about $2.50 right now, and diesel's about $2.55 right now.
Well, that's the thing. People think Biden controls the gas prices, even though, yes, he could sign the gas tax bill. It's OPEC, OPEC, I want to say, is the company that does all that, considers the pricing and everything like that. They also are the people who do the deals from the Middle East where a lot of our oil comes from.
Yeah.
And so, people are just thinking ridiculously.
If you haven't caught on yet, this is the part of the episode where we call out the right-leaning people. So if you're right-leaning and you're about to get butthurt, suck it up.
Or change your perspective on things.
I don't like how they're doing this because I don't like how they're, blaming Biden for this again. Because it's the same thing they complained about all the way in Trump's presidency was stop blaming everything on Trump. Not everything's Trump's fault. You're just turning around and doing the same thing. You say that you're different, but you're doing the same exact thing.
And people want to be closed-minded, and then once, like on my video where I provided them with facts, they're just like, oh, well then why would it change as soon as Biden got down? I'm like, dude, I was arguing with people so much in my comments.
I saw that.
But it's like, dude, you can't blame everything on Biden. I want Biden to do well. I want our country to do well. I want our country to do well. I don't fully support him. I don't support most of the things that he does, his policies or whatever, but I want him to do well. Like Zach just said, you can't be a hypocrite. You can't get mad at the Democrats for, blaming everything on Trump over the past 4 years. And then as soon as Biden's been in office for 2 months, do the same thing.
Yeah. Like, I don't like Joe Biden. I don't like the administration that's in there. I really don't like it. But they're in there, regardless if you think it's fair or not. And so it should be the will of the American people to support, maybe not support them, right? You don't have to support them, but wish for them to do well by our country, right? For you, the people, instead of jumping on their backs and, trying to beat them into the ground all the time. and that goes for both the right and the left. And if you're going to say, well, I'm not a conservative for thinking that way, I'm still a conservative. I said earlier in this episode talking about how dangerous hive minds are, right? You're believing something just because it's not the left. You know, if you're right-leaning, you're going to go against anything that someone on the left says. Or if you're on the left, you're going to go against anything that somebody on the right says, just on the sole basis of them being the opposite party of you, which is dumb, right? That's where division really comes from, clearly. And it shouldn't be. This shouldn't be something that, you know, should be celebrated or collected. This hive mind mentality of anything that comes out of someone from the left's mouth is garbage. Like I said, I like some of the people that would identify on the left. For example, Tulsi Gabbard. There's a couple things I disagree with her on, abortion mainly. But I thought she was a good candidate. You know what I mean?
It's just ridiculous because, like, people will have the mindset, like, they'll hear someone say something, not completely grasp, let me rephrase that, they'll hear someone on the left say something, not completely grasp what they're saying, and just be like, yeah, I disagree with that. But in their mind, they have some of the same ideologies or some of the same beliefs that the left does.
Right.
I wouldn't talk about, major, like, topics. I mean, I used to say abortion, gun rights, other things like that, because obviously those are the main things going on. There are a lot of very smaller topics that you might agree with them on, but obviously because, I mean, I hate to go back to this, the belief that it's a two-party system and the parties can't get along, that's where it comes from, where people just don't want to, find a common ground.
I saw a TikTok today that actually made me really happy. It was these two guys. The black guy they were dorm mates in college, right? So their beds are like right next to each other. The black guy, the guy who made the video, had a Biden-Harris flag over his bed, and his white roommate had a Trump flag over his bed, and it showed them dapping up. And
I saw that.
Caption, he was like, why is everything about race? Which is also like, why is everything about political party? Just because someone thinks differently than you shouldn't, you shouldn't want to still associate with them, right? People are going to differ on opinions. It's how people are. Not everyone's going to have the same opinion, right? Unless everything is like homogenous across the board. When you look at, for example, right, the left, I see a lot on Twitter, on TikTok, or in just social media in general, or just in general in society, when someone's like, yeah, I'm friends with him, even though he voted for Trump, I'm still friends with him. It's like, you're going to be friends with someone who literally voted to have your rights taken away? Like, that's the type of mentality that is toxic.
It's like, you can find a common ground. If you can't find a common ground, you can have at least a civilized adult conversation. So, like, my brother, his old lady, she's, like, mostly liberal. Well, last time I was home, we got drunk, and for some reason we got to the point where we were talking about politics. And I mean, even though that we were drunk, it was still respectful. I was drunk. If you're having a sober conversation with someone, I do not want to hear the excuse that you are not able to have an adult conversation with them.
Yeah, one of my best friends, I call her one of my best friends, she's very progressive. I call her liberal, right? It didn't stop us from being respectful and having a good friendship. And we still have a strong friendship. You know what I mean? She's essentially like my sister. But I think this idea that just because you're identified with one side of politics or the other, or even like independents, you know what I mean? Or even just straight up middle libertarians, that you can't get along with somebody because they have a political belief and then you have beef, is stupid. And it's toxic, and it's immature, and we see that a lot. Like I said, I talked about the left having a hive mind with, you're gonna vote, you like someone who voted for having your rights take away, whatever. The rights equivalent to that would be people just yelling libtard just because you're a left-leaning person, calling people libtard. You know what I mean?
It is like, I wouldn't say it's like, it's very annoying that people will not be friends with someone just because of a difference of opinion. I have a lot of friends who are Democrats, who are liberals, who have completely different opposite opinions of me.
Right.
But in order, like, if we want to stay friends, for us, we just decided we're not going to talk about politics with each other. It's not that hard. If you want to be friends with someone, be friends with them. Not everything revolves around politics, no matter Trump, Biden, abortion, pro-life, or whatever. it's just so idiotic. Like, you can make some really good friends looking past people's political indifferences.
Yeah. And moving on, continuing to call out the Republicans on social media, I've seen the trend of Republicans calling out other Republicans like, hey, Republicans, this is what you should be focusing on. Don't focus on socialism or capitalism versus this. You know what I mean? Focus on strengthening our borders, working, putting America first. This, and this. I'm like, okay, well, that's good. Let's not always talk about socialism. But I think the idea... I've seen some accounts that'll say that, and then they turn around and then they talk about capitalism and socialist. Like, I am for capitalism, and I am also conservative. It does not mean just because I am a capitalist, I am conservative. And it doesn't mean just because I am just because I'm a capitalist, I am a conservative.
Yeah, just because I'm a capitalist does not mean I'm a conservative.
Just because I'm a conservative doesn't mean I'm a capitalist. Well, it's great not to focus on those issues. These same people that say don't focus on socialism are the same people that will turn around the next video and say, well, socialism is ruining our country. It's like, bro, that's so backwards. It's so incredibly backwards and stupid.
It's even worse when they'll talk about another Republican. They'll be like, oh, let's not talk about socialism. And then they know exactly what they're doing, but they go on their page and nonchalantly, without saying socialism, talk about socialism.
Yeah. And I think you can talk about socialism, be a conservative. It's fine. It's a real thing that a lot of people are pushing for. I think it's an issue, and I think it's okay to talk about it, right?
Debates are fun. Trust me.
But yeah, these are the same people, though, also, that will say, don't talk about socialism. We need to strengthen our borders. We need to work on our immigration. We need to put America first. That's all fine and dandy. But then when you talk about nationalism, they start to cringe up. It's like, oh, we're not nationalists. Ugh. We can't be nationalists. Why? Because this is also kind of one of the things I wanted to close on is why do people think nationalism is bad? You know what I mean? Because I don't know about you, Tristan.
Didn't Trump say he was a nationalist?
Yeah,
he did say he was a nationalist. Everyone took it the wrong way, thinking he was a white nationalist.
Right. There's a difference between white nationalism or any type of black nationalism, whatever, versus actual just nationalism. Nationalism in itself is what, honestly, I kind of strive for. What is the definition of nationalism? It's identification with one's own nation and support for its interests, especially to the exclusion or detriment of interests of other nations. As in, I am putting America first and its issues first. I am not going to be worrying about what's going on, honestly, without the other world unless it involves me. I want my country to be strong. I want America to be great.
Everyone when Trump said he was a nationalist, for some reason, obviously during Trump administration, anything he said blew up and was taken the wrong way. Like you just said, nationalist or nationalism does not equal white nationalism. White nationalism is literally racism.
Right. Yeah, and I'm not for that. I don't want that. I don't think one race is more superior than the other on all spectrums, but I am for a strong country. I am for putting America first. I don't think we should honestly care that much about the global community unless it directly involves us.
I don't think that we should be spending all of this money to other countries when we would be able to spend that money to better our own country. That's nationalism.
Right. It's not a bad thing. I don't know why there's such this bad aura around it. Now, obviously, you got to be careful, right? Don't go down the lines of white nationalism. Don't go down the lines of black nationalism, Hispanic nationalism, Asian nationalism, whatever. You know what I mean? Any form of supremacy. But you can still be. It's okay to be nationalist.
It's okay to put your country first.
Yeah. What is kind of a similar term for nationalism is patriotism. Truly, is what that means. Patriotism is the quality of being patriotic, devotion to, and vigorous support of one's country. You know what I mean? I would consider myself a patriot. And being a patriot also doesn't mean that you're right or left leaning. It just means you support and you have a devotion towards your country. I think everyone can be a patriot. I think everyone should be a patriot. You know what I mean?
There's nothing wrong with putting your country first. Everyone thinks that, oh, well, we're putting America before other countries. Fuck yeah, we are.
Yeah.
What's the problem with putting us before other countries? We need to make sure that we are secure, make sure that we are strong, make sure that our people are doing okay before we worry about, I don't know, Somalia or some shit.
Because
I don't know.
once our country, like if you focus on America in itself, right? We as a country want to make ourselves the strongest that we can be. You know, the most, I don't want to say solid in terms of economically, immigration and problems that we have in our country, right? We want to solve all those first before we go out and try and help others. You know what I mean? And it's not a bad thing. Again, I don't understand why people think it is a bad thing. There should be nothing wrong with wanting to put your country first. And then after you've, improved your country, you then go out and help people. You know what I mean?
Because let's be honest, our country needs a lot of improvements.
Right.
Like, I'm not going to say, like, oh, yeah, like, our country is perfect. No, our country is not fucking
2020 is the prime example as to why our country needs attention within itself.
We need to focus on ourselves. We don't need to be sending relief money to other countries when it doesn't pertain to us initially.
That's like, in a sense, right? And I don't know, Tristan, what they teach you in the military, but I'm going to use this example. That's like, let's say you and your buddy are both shot and in the same place. Or no, I'm going to use this as an example, and I think, I don't know, I think this, in my head, I believe this is a good analogy. So when you're in an airplane, right, what's the thing they tell you about the mask, the oxygen mask when they drop down, right? During the little takeoff thing where they're telling you about the safety features, and in case of a water evacuation, in case of a depressurization of the cabin, the mask will drop down. Put your mask on first, and then help your neighbors. It's that simple.
Unless it's pertaining to kids.
Right, obviously. No, I still want you to put your mask on first.
Oh, I thought it was put your kids' masks on first and then take care of us. Oh, okay.
Because if you pass out, who's going to put the mask on your kid? No, yeah.
Obama?
No, but seriously, there should be nothing wrong, and this goes to Republicans too, because I know a lot of Republicans like, I'm not a nationalist. What, are you a globalist? That's not good. That's not very conservative of you. That's not very right-leaning of you. You know what I mean? Like, you should want to be a nationalist. You should want to strive for the betterment of your country before anyone else.
And when people hear nationalist, they think, for some reason, people's minds automatically go to police funding, military funding, all this, not thinking about the citizens. Nationalism is about the citizens. It's not necessarily about, oh, let's give all this money to the military. We get a bunch of money, trust me.
Yeah.
But nationalism is about putting the citizens first.
Right. And it's not to be confused with chauvinism, which is like extremely aggressive. What is it, like just intense patriotism, I think is what the definition says.
Authoritarian, I guess. Yeah. Super authoritarian.
I'm not into that, but I think wanting to say put America first, I don't think that's a bad thing.
It's not.
We need to stop pretending that it is a bad thing. So that's just me, though. You know what I mean?
We just need to focus on ourselves before we start sending all this relief money to other places. And then you see Congress, politicians complaining that we don't have the money to fund the stuff that we want to.
All in all, I'm happy to see on social media Republicans saying we need to stop talking about these issues, these certain issues, and focus more on what makes us at our core Republican or conservative, and we need to focus on making our country better. I'm happy to see that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it needs to stay that way and not start to branch off, or not to be hypocritical. If you're about that, be about that. Don't go around making a video right afterward contradicting what you just said. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is okay to address socialism, right? And it's good to have those discussions of capitalism versus anything else. You know what I mean? That's okay. Still have those conversations. I'm not saying don't, but I think this idea of being nationalist too is also a good thing, and putting America first is another good thing, and I think that should be the core of all our politics. Our politicians who you vote for shouldn't be just because they want to better the world. It should be they want to better America. Because you can't fix something that's broken if you're still broken. You know what I mean? And I think that's where we're going to leave it, honestly, for today's episode. So with that being said, thank you for listening. Please consider subscribing. We are having a guest. A guest is coming. You guys will like him. I promise you. He's very outgoing.
It'll be a very funny segment. Trust me.
Yeah. So with that out of the way, man, we appreciate y'all. Make sure you follow us on the socials at Pure American Pod. On Twitter, YouTube, it's Pure American Podcast. And we're available on just about any spot you can listen to podcasts on. We do have a TikTok, and we post clips up there sometimes. So if you want to watch that, go ahead. We do not interact with people in the comment section because we don't have time to comment in the comment section.
Or make videos. So make a video about us if you want. We don't care.
Yeah. Other than that, man, it's been fun. We'll catch y'all in the next one. I've been Fatty. This is Redboy. And we will see y'all on Friday.